In the previous adventure, we saw a prime minister's exploding cake with a puzzling message from that rascal, the Riddler. The dynamic duo pinned the Riddler's ears back, but he tricked them with $1 million lawsuit against
the soul of Detroit.
Glee for the Riddler. Gloom for
ML.
The Riddler had it made.
Detroit
City was aghast.
Shawn
Seemed utterly doomed. But wait, the worst is yet to come.
You asked interrogative questions out of my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric. You were warned. The worst is yet to come, and it's here. The prophecy has been realized. Shawn Windsor is back from Monument Valley in Utah, where he had a religious experience with Mitt Romney. Marc was here the whole time. Patrick's here, and we have a special guest, Sam Riddle, longtime host of Riddle at Random in print, on the radio, and now on your ballot for Congress in the 13th Congressional District. Sam and Shawn and I have a long history, nothing that wouldn't be fit for print, and we appreciate you coming in, Sam.
Well, thank you, ML.
So we are going to first play a couple bills before we dive into the conversation. Luke Nowacki, if you've been watching the stock market, if you're thinking of retiring, if you're worried about your IRA or 401k, you should have called Luke a long time ago, but don't freak out as you see your portfolio plunge, because Luke has rational financial advice. Isn't that right, Mr. Fellhauer?
He absolutely does. Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748. Stocks, bonds. If you look at the graph today of the market, it goes boop down, and now it's going boop back up. Which
is it going up? I didn't see that.
It's a total U right now. I mean, it's better than what it's been doing, which was straight down, but Luke's the one that knows all about this. If you have a company, are you in the right investments? Do you have a pension fund? All that stuff. Get advice, get a strategy. Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth can help you out. 248-663-4748.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
So if you need money, somebody in the metro area has decided a really good source of funds is my bank accounts. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But for the rest of you,
I feel like you're underselling that story. But
yeah,
go ahead.
there's because it only gets worse. But if you stick around to the end, you'll get the whole deal. But if you need to take money out of your house, Hall Financial, they can help you out.
What, Shawn? You don't have high interest credit card debt?
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah. Keep reading.
Do you have a home remodeling project that you need money to pay for?
I could if you want me to.
Sam, do you have a lot of debt?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, if you did, now.
But I do have a roof that needs fixing.
Well, there you go.
Well, now you need to get money out of your house. There you go, because the average home in America has gone up $30,000 in the last year alone.
Fact.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Hall Financial has a cash out refinance. You can consolidate all your debt with one manageable mortgage payment. You can get to your cash out refinance payment as little as 8 business days, 5,000 5-star reviews. Why would you go anywhere else? You can go online, check them out, callhallfirst.com, or call them 866-CALL-HALL.
That's right. And when you call Hall, let them know that ML sent you. And if you're looking for something to do, maybe a place to distract you from the many unfair things that have happened in the banking industry, or watching your portfolio crash. I bought Weight Watchers stock, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if they're helping people lose weight, but they certainly are slimming down the value of their shares very well. So nicely done, Florian and Marc. But the
Did you really buy Weight Watchers stock?
Yeah.
Why? I'm just out of curiosity.
Because well, first of all, everybody I know is on Weight Watchers at one time or another. So it's one of those products that it seems like people use, and it's one of the few diet plans, and this is not a pitch from a shareholder, but it's one of the few diet plans that actually works, because people are like, I'm not going to eat bread, or I'm only going to eat butter. And you do that for like 6 months, you lose 90 pounds.
It's much better logic than diving into, say, their financials.
Then you go into a movie and no, because a product that people need.
Fair point.
And when
Well,
it
the
hits
burners and ice cream last night was wrong. I shouldn't have done that.
no, but you run. You see, you've got a plan.
Yeah, I run.
You know, and Weight Watchers says you can eat that stuff. They don't tell you, hey, if you just have Crisco every morning, you can do whatever you want the rest of the day. You know, it's not like our buddy Rodney Pete telling us if you eat that tomato pill, you can do whatever the hell you want, lose weight. Now, Holly Robinson Pete looks slim, but Rodney Pete still looks a little fat to me.
Yeah, he's pudgy.
Yeah, so I'm not doing a lipozine. I'm Weight Watchers anyway. But anyways, if you're depressed by all that and you're looking for a way to turn away the blues, or maybe I think it's on Monday you can hear the blues, go to the Caju Cafe where there's always something great going on. It's the pride of the East Side. Every Monday is an open blues jam and muscle madness. Tuesdays is Sweet and Funky presented by Funk Night Records and Wolf Makes Beat. Wednesday's karaoke. Thursday, LVRS, Modern Lady Fitness, and special guests take the stage. On Friday, Grateful Dead cover band Super Crunch play from 7 to 11. Saturday is packed with music. East Side Still Alive is outside, and Jim McCarty and the Johnny B. Badanchek birthday bash is inside. Just this weekend, Sunday and Monday, the cafe is closed for Memorial Day. So honor your veteran. Sam is a veteran. We're pleased to have him with us. He's a veteran who survived. So that's the way to do it.
Surviving Detroit is a lot rougher.
You could be Trump's hero because you're a veteran who lived, right?
Trump. Please.
Okay. So we'll get to the politics in just a minute. But for more on the Caju Cafe, go to cajucafe.com. So let's jump right in. Sam, you're running for Congress.
Well, yeah, but you just mentioned the Grateful Dead. I have an old friend. I met him during the Jerry Brown campaign, 1992. Name was John Barlow. He wrote a few songs for the Grateful Dead. He took me to something I didn't realize how heavy it was. I had an all-access pass to a Grateful Dead.
So you could go right by
in San Francisco area.
Go right through.
But anyway,
I
just thought he also was head of something called and founder of the Electronic Frontier. Google that sometime. Find out why the NSA doesn't like them.
Does that involve LSD?
No, it doesn't involve any LSD, but, Grateful Dead, hey, anything went.
That's true, too. In fact, they're still playing one of the songs that he wrote. This tunes go on forever.
A decade-long jam.
It's like an open jam. It's like, let's
Someone listening knows the history of John Barlow, and they're going to say, that guy knew John Barlow?
I've heard of John Barlow. This is what's fascinating about Sam is I think other things pop in people's mind when they think of you,
Well, that's what she said when the bed broke.
I mean, some of the...
Okay. So
that's how we're going to roll. By the way, are you the first hippie to ever run for Congress?
I don't know. I never knew I was a hippie. But, hey, what the hell? You live long enough, you could be almost anything. The issue is, what do you survive?
You can be hip and not be a hippie.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely true.
You guys are hip. You're not hippies.
No, I'm not hip.
No, you
just broke one.
Yeah, Sean is rose hips. That's what they have on that multivitamin he takes every day.
I'm not hip.
That's how he gets that amber glow.
You're cool, Sean.
Is that because I accepted our introduction without pushback?
Well, you can push back. It's all good.
No, I didn't back then.
Well, it's okay. You pushed back more than you knew.
You guys
had looks of utter disgust.
What is the story
That's
there?
a pushback.
Do you know how we met?
I do not.
He was a councilman, right? Clyde Cleveland was in a bit of trouble. I want to say domestic.
Yeah. There was some trouble between he and his wife. Yeah.
He got in a little bit of trouble. So it was early 2000s, and I was sent out to his house. I want to say it was at the University of Detroit, near in northwest
It was off
Detroit.
of Palmer Park, actually, over in that area, off 7
Okay,
Mile.
so it's a 2-story. I walk up, I knock on the door, nobody answers, and I back up, and there's a window open up top. It slings open, and I hear this voice, a man trying to sound like a woman speaking Spanish who spoke English. And it's Sam Riddle acting like the housekeeper saying, "Nobody's home." Well, that's how I met Sam Riddle. Nobody's home.
That's partially true. The reality is that it was a woman you heard, not me.
No, but the story's much better when it's you.
Well, yeah, I know.
No, he's coaching the housekeeper, telling me to say nobody's home.
Exactly. Because
see, that's what happens when you have a consigliere like Sam. He can
ultimate puppeteer.
Every situation.
Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah. Okay. I remember.
Yeah. And Sean just went away. See, I would have climbed the gutters. I'd have been up the.
I don't remember what I did. I probably yelled up and.
Well, yeah, you did. But the fact that you were snooping around was significant.
Snooping. I knocked on the front door.
Well, It's off 7 Mile, man.
This was Shawn when he was on the news team.
Yeah.
And we've both spent a lot of time with Sam. I drove, if you read the Free Press, Sunday's edition, you can see a link on our website. I drove to Saginaw with Sam, and we were on our way back from Saginaw back in 2009 when he got a phone call from Monica Conyers, who had just pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery. She must have been outside the federal courthouse because she had her cell phone, but she calls Sam and says, how do you think this is going to affect my political career? And Sam says, it's pretty much going to end it. And she's like, really? And now Sam is running for office. Monica was running for office. She got booted from the ballot. She was running for Wayne County executive. Hasn't really talked to us very much, or at all for that matter, about why she's running. While she talked to Sam on the phone for quite a while that day, when I called her last week, she just hung up. But Sam is running for Congress on a pretty sweeping platform to both serve Democrats and stick it to Democrats.
Yeah.
National Democrats.
Well, yeah, because, in, when was it? Hell, the first National Black Political Convention, I believe it was 1972. We had that convention in Gary, Indiana. One of the Flint, Michigan, Genesee County commissioners, his first cousin was a guy named Gary Hatcher, one of the first black mayors in America. And he was convening the first National Black Political Convention. And the reason it was being convened was because the National Democratic Party back then, 50 years ago or whenever, was doing the same thing it's doing now, just taking us for granted. Votes in the hip pocket. Treat them any old way. Hell, in Michigan, you can lose a race to Janice Winfrey, and they'll elevate you to lieutenant governor. Just lose, Garland Gilchrist.
Now, hadn't Fannie Lou Hamer had a national black political convention before 72?
She had a party, the Freedom Now Party, I believe it was. And again, confrontations. I think that was Chicago. That was the year that
I know it's in the 60s.
Daley was there, and it was like a major league confrontation with the police and everything. But the point is that the Democratic Party has a history of betraying its most loyal constituents, and those are black voters, us. And quite frankly, black America deserves better. But hell, you got these yahoos in the Republican Party that choose a guy like Donald Trump, known white nationalist, known white supremacist, known draft dodger, and what the hell.
But to your point, what did he always say?
Private bone spurs, right?
He always said, what have you got to lose? Because he said the same thing you said.
No, and he had a valid point.
Yep.
And he picked up 5,000 more votes in Detroit in 2020 than 2016. That had to be some black
And
folks
let me say
voting for
this.
Trump.
I take great pride in one of the women that I work with, a state representative. She was the one Trump had her personal phone number. She had Trump personal phone number. They would speak. And it's State Representative Karen Whitsett. Her calls and conversations with this Republican white nationalist freed Kwame Kilpatrick. You've heard of him, haven't you, NML?
I am, but you're bragging about getting Kwame Kilpatrick out of prison?
All I'm saying is what happened. Who's bragging? Kwame Kilpatrick is the ultimate, ingrate, narcissist. What can I say about Kwame?
Should he be out?
Yes, he should be out. 28 years is too many years. You do the crime, you're going to do some damn time. But 28 years was too many damn years. Hell, you could have walked up, shot someone in the face, killed him, and got less time. In Detroit.
Let me ask you a question, Sam. Mike's got this new column at the Free Press. He writes about you, and I want to say he slips Kwame Kilpatrick in that column at least twice. Were you offended?
You think No,
Were you offended?
I'm not offended because we are the sum total. Whether it's ML, Mike. I think you're getting real familiar too, Shawn.
Yes,
I think he's a little familiar, ML. But
By calling him Mike?
the point is,
You're
Every
the
other
one falling for
column-
the propaganda by calling him ML.
the
Every
point
other
is,
column, Shawn slipped something interesting in.
Yeah, well,
So-
he works at it.
Yeah.
He works at it. But the point is that we are the sum total of our experiences. ML's experience, his Pulitzer, was founded on Kwame Kilpatrick. Even though the lawyer that provided the material was trying to drive a settlement for Gary Brown. What can I say?
Well, when you're talking about the 2000s, as I like to think of them as the awful aughts, That was the Kwame Kilpatrick decade. And Shawn, people who maybe be a little more sophisticated and literate realized that we were writing about something that was going on in 2009 with public corruption. How do you write about public corruption in 2009 and not mention Kwame Kilpatrick? I would like to have seen a talented wordsmith like yourself do that, Shawn.
I'm not talented at all. I just thought it was.
It's like writing about the Detroit Tigers and not mentioning baseball.
What do you mean getting too familiar? With you?
No, with Mike, ML.
Yeah, he's been told many times that the proper way to address
Mike and I
me
have been in a hot tub together. What do you mean?
Mr. Elric and your lordship. Those are the two ways Shawn is supposed to address me.
You want to see a lot of pasty? Yeah, that's not a sight at all.
And as people who are watching us on YouTube channel ML Elric, please subscribe. I like this layout better because Shawn cannot make direct eye contact with me. This is much better.
without hurting my neck.
Yeah.
By turning.
All those gobblers come swinging around. It's like Charles Kuralt on a trampoline. I love it.
Oh, my God. He's been calling me turkey neck for 20 years. We've been in a hot tub together. I do have to say he has a six-pack underneath.
Wait. You've been in a hot tub with Sam?
No, with you.
No, not with me. Not with me.
By the way,
was I roofied? Because I do not remember that. Now, Shawn... Sam has been in a shower with Charlie, so
Charlie came around.
Speaking
when
of familiarity,
I was showering with the camera.
Yeah,
at the Y.
Oh yeah, you guys didn't share a shower.
Detroit.
So
I never shared a shower with Charlie.
Okay,
he's a former cheerleader in Ann Arbor. You know.
Oh yeah.
Some people speculate he doesn't shower.
Yeah, he's spent so much time trying to be cool that he's not cool.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, when you try to be cool, how in the hell can you be cool? You know, wearing those dusty cowboy knockoff boots? Come on.
You once hit him hard because you accused him of being a white guy wearing skinny jeans, and Charlie has a pretty thick skin.
No.
But I remember him afterwards.
The word was an older white guy wearing skinny jeans.
And Charlie is pretty cool, and he does have a pretty thick skin, but I remember that afterwards he was walking around the station going, I don't wear skinny jeans. What's he talking about, skinny jeans?
You know, it's difficult disliking
They're boot
Charlie.
cut.
I've tried to dislike Charlie. It's very difficult.
Yeah, no, he's the prodigal son.
But he's a right-wing Yahoo lunatic sometimes.
Mark.
The bromance with Tucker Carlson's kind of tough.
Mark, can I ask you a corporate question?
Well, wait a sec. You can disagree with people and be friendly with them.
That's right.
I hate Shawn.
That's right.
Exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
So,
I don't hate anyone.
I love you, and I don't mind turning my neck to you to look at you to say that. Mark, can I ask you a corporate question real
Sure.
quickly? Why are you and I in Solo Detroit t-shirts or garb every Tuesday? And this guy over here, whose name is on the moniker of the show, is in a Michigan State shirt.
He's so modest he doesn't want to wear something with his name on it.
Is it modesty?
Yeah, right.
So at some point we're going to get to Sam, but this is one of the things with this show, Sam. Shawn hates it when other people, lay down instructions or guidelines, but he is the wardrobe police. He's like, you got to wear this, you got to wear that.
Well, I have on a shirt with Al Sharpton's name on it, founder of the organization I'm political director of for Michigan.
Yeah, there's a purpose behind that.
Network. No, I just left the demonstration at the city-county building, which our National Action Network was supporting, trying to recover the $600 million looted by the ineptitude, the incompetence of the Duggan administration.
Bing administration. Remember the overtaxation happened under Bing.
Yeah, but it started then.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I just thought you wanted to cover up that tie.
Was that the same Bing administration that once hired Karen Dumas?
Boy, we're getting into all over the network business.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's not talk about that.
No.
I was just going to let it rip with Karen, and she was very kind. I love you, Karen, wherever you are.
Yeah.
I love you.
Well, no, it's
But
very...
you don't really, but that's...
it's very interesting to see people talk about overtaxation, and Dave Bing's name rarely comes up in this, and Duggan, whether he did a good enough job or not, did lower assessments and appraisals and get the whole city reappraised, but this was one of the things that happened when Dave Bing was mayor, where, I think the way you judge mayors is based on ribbons the next mayor cuts. And that's why I think Kwame Kilpatrick was such a terrible mayor, because Kenny Cockrell Jr. and Dave Bing didn't get to cut any ribbons. Kilpatrick cut a bunch of ribbons that Dennis Archer made happen, including the All-Star Game, the Super Bowl, CompuWare, you name it. I guess you could say Kilpatrick helped bring Gilbert downtown, so that's somewhat significant.
And to his credit, Dan Gilbert is now doing some good helping folks stay in their home.
No, he's helping all those people who are renters because he put them out of their house when their mortgages.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go into that too.
Yeah,
No, you just said it.
He doesn't want to bounce them twice.
Nothing is as it seems.
Because if he bounces them twice, they can't come work at his restaurant.
You should look a gift horse in the mouth in the case of Dan.
Speaking
Gilbert.
of horses, no. We don't need to talk about that, do we, Sam?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Been looking forward to hearing that story.
Cryptic.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no.
Well, now you have to.
But Dave Bing left very few gifts for his successor. And but anyway, we're off the rails. All right, I knew this was going to happen when Shawn comes back on vacation. He had a Red Bull yesterday. He's still kind of amped up.
Oh,
but Sam, we want to talk about your career and your political. But I got to ask you about Monica before we move on. What do you make of her running for county executive, and what was it like to work with her, for her?
Well, let me just say this. I love Monica Conyers. I love the Conyers family. I have had great insight into her, and I mean, again, she's a lot brighter than people give her credit for being.
She got a law degree.
Well, she just got a master's in public administration, a bachelor's degree, and a Juris Doctor. I mean, she earned those degrees on her own. And she's an extremely bright black woman. And the streets of Detroit actually love Monica Conyers. I was surprised that she picked a county exec to file for, given the way that the Kwame Kilpatrick law works. That law that would prevent her from serving, I believe, is a law that was designed expressly for Kwame Kilpatrick because white folks don't trust black folks because we're too forgiving. We believe in redemption, and they knew that without that law, Kwame Kilpatrick would make a great comeback, as he predicted, as you're well aware of. That to me
I
flies
done set
in
him
the
up for
face.
that comeback.
That flies to me in the face of what democracy should be about. Democracy should not be about punitive. If an individual has done the time, accepted responsibility for their behavior and actions, and there's some questions to whether or not he's done that all the way down the line.
Well, he told the Today Show he's apologized so many times Detroit's sick of hearing it. I'm thinking, I'd like to hear it the first time, let alone a second or third. But
well, like I said,
this is Shawn's favorite subject. So we
it's
gotta get
not all redemptive.
No, please.
Some of it should be punitive, shouldn't it? If you commit a crime.
Well, no, you've done that. You served your time. But part of that, I believe, is accepting responsibility for your actions.
Do you think he did
There's
that?
a reason I'm in a training film, if you will, for the Department of Justice, where I say if you have to think about it, don't do it. You know right from wrong. Choose right. That doesn't mean I won't tell the FBI to go to hell. It doesn't mean I haven't violated gag orders by federal judges. Certainly I have.
No one can keep Sam quiet.
Well, asshole told me, don't tweet or Facebook. I call a press conference, tweeting and Facebooking. What the hell was that about? God bless him. He's gone now. Matter of fact, John Conyers got him his judgeship. Judge Cohen.
Oh, yeah. At 95 or 97, I think.
Yeah, he lived a long time. He also is responsible for a friend of mine who's in law enforcement, family losing billions. Father invented the intermittent windshield wiper. There was a film done on that.
I remember that.
Greg Kinnear.
Yeah, Kinnear absolutely played him, the father. And his son is in law enforcement now, a friend of mine. And that judge appeared to be in the hip pocket of the car companies and the law firms representing them. Another discussion. But anyway, go on. I've had too many war stories to go into here. Go on, ML, run it.
Well, I just want to know.
Through the battles.
I just want to know this. Why are you running for the 13th congressional seat? We haven't even talked about that. Yeah, that's what you're running for in the House.
It's very simple.
You've always been behind the scenes for the most part.
Well, I looked at that field, and that field of candidates is more representative of the Duggan administration than anything that Congressman John Conyers stood for. Jobs, justice, peace.
Are there carpetbaggers in there? People that moved to that district?
Well, you can live anywhere in the state of Michigan. You can be in the UP and run from U.S. Congress.
For Congress, you just have to live in the state.
Yeah, I did not know that. No, that's not an issue in this race. What is an issue to me is the ideological bent of most of the candidates. You got a guy like a state senator, Hollier, who was against Proposal P, for Proposal N, both pushed by the anti-democracy Democrats in this state, including Mike Duggan, including Gretchen Whitmer. I mean, you see, majority black Detroit was going to be shortchanged by that field. I'm in this race because I believe we need someone going to Congress to fight for majority black Detroit and flooded basements in the Grosse Pointe area to bring federal resources in so that people...
Very relatable to a lot of people in that district.
No, it's awful. It's awful. They don't fight for us. They're too busy taking selfies and photographs in Washington, D.C., speaking inside the Beltway language. 60% of the children in Detroit wake up every day in abject poverty. And these phony-ass white liberals and the jackleg, handkerchief-head, Negro enablers of the status quo look the other way. What the hell is that about? I identify friends and enemies on the basis of behavior, not race, not sexuality.
So let's dive into that a little bit, because I hear and I get a lot of emails from candidates in this district saying it's so important to hold this seat as a black seat and emphasizing their blackness. Yet there's a large portion of the district, you mentioned the Grosse Pointes, there's also downriver, where there's a lot of white folks. And are you concerned that your message may have those white folks say, well, there's white folks who live in this district? Why are we just talking about black folks?
Absolutely wrong.
So talk about how that's
just
broad.
As you got a stimulus payment, I'm for a basic income payment to everyone that lives below the poverty line. A lot of white folks in that 13th congressional district live below the poverty line. If you're going
when you look at poverty, there's more white hillbillies that are broke as a joke than anybody else.
I am currently a senior fellow of the Pulse Institute, the anti-poverty think tank that's getting worldwide recognition for what we're doing and addressing poverty. And where else? Why not be based in one of America's poorest and blackest city, where a lot of poor white people also live and are stuck and can't flee to the suburbs?
Sam, are you worried those white folks are not going to hear your message because they're going to say, "Oh, he's only talking to black people"?
You, they're here. You got commercials now. What the hell? Someone's listening.
Well, they're not listening. That's why they keep sponsoring us.
Yeah, but see, that's why I fight for Medicare for all.
Okay.
But why are you running?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
I
You said what you believe in.
I want to do something
Why
about
at this
the
stage
mess
in your
that's
life
being ignored. Why not?
Are you running?
Why not? Why
That's
wouldn't
not
I
an
run?
answer. Why are you
Because
running?
I have fire in my belly, fight in my heart, and there's work to be done.
You've been, as Marc said, a behind-the-scenes guy pulling strings for 40, 50 years.
And now the people I see running are totally incapable of addressing
but you've
the issues.
You've told me that for 20 years, though.
Let
That's
me say
not
this.
changed. That's not
you
different.
You know what Wallet Hub says is the worst city in America for veterans? Detroit. I run for everyone that ever served in the military of these United States of America that might live in Detroit. Wallet Hub designates Detroit as America's worst city for veterans. I run for the veterans, of which I am an honorably discharged Vietnam War era veteran. Why in the hell wouldn't I run? Why in the hell are you asking me why am I running? I should have run a long time ago.
Because you've been making stuff happen from one vantage point all your life, and now you're getting out on the stage.
And I don't see anyone
different...
out here capable of addressing the issues like a Congressman John Conyers did.
Okay.
Reparations, for example.
Let me ask you about a few people in this race. John Conyers III is in the race. Do you have thoughts of him?
Has he ever even helped a little old lady cross the street?
Okay. Because this is a kind of an interesting...
Keep going!
It's just an interesting
who's going!
Shri Tandahar. And I mean, I think a lot of people, when they think of him, think of what happened when he tried to run for governor.
Shri Tandahar, it's very simple. I'm not on the auction block. Are any of the listeners on the auction block? This is a guy that thinks he can wave dollar bills around and buy human beings. The hell with that, Shri. Go to hell with that. I'm not on the auction block.
Sharon McPhail.
Where has she been?
That's a great question. Where has she been?
She was in some trouble with that school she was running for a while, and I haven't heard from her since.
Well, you know, I was over that school with Royce the 5'9", with Big Shawn, with Hollywood Craig. By the way, I'm the one that gave Hollywood Craig that name. He'll tell you that. Columns I used to write, my column, Riddle at Random
Michigan
for the
Chronicle?
Michigan Citizen.
Citizen.
No, the Chronicle would not touch me.
Was Craig around long enough for the Citizen to be? Because Citizen's been gone
I'm just telling you, I know, but
time.
when Craig first came here, I watched how he operated. Craig was one of the most sophisticated workers of mainstream media and law enforcement in the nation.
Yeah, he is not afraid of a camera.
I think
No, that's why I designated him with respect, Hollywood Craig, and he'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, he embraces it.
Yeah, he does, and he'll tell you where it came from.
Yeah.
I think what Shawn was trying to ask earlier was, is there something that particularly inspired you to run yourself instead of representing somebody else?
There was no one that I could represent.
But thank you for that.
No, there's no one that was running. We're going down the list. You're naming folks in
Sherry
the race.
Gagdagnato, who I think that might pop in people's minds because of the letter she handed to President Trump.
What? The guy doesn't read. You're at a reception, hundreds of black folks there. And you ambush him. She ambushed him, gave him a letter. He doesn't know her from anything.
You don't think he read it?
No, I know he didn't read it, and I know that it wasn't effective. The most effective thing that happened that freed Kwame Kilpatrick was the work in the Oval Office and in numerous phone conversations that I was privy to between State Representative Karen Whitsett, Democrat, lives on the west side in the hood in Detroit. And when Laura Trump would roll into town, she would call Karen. And Karen would go over in Livernois, heart of the black community.
What did Trump get out of it?
And meet with her. What did Trump get out of it?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Then why would he do it?
He did it because he liked Karen. Remember, the circumstances. Karen Whitsett's life was saved. She believes this. I believe her. By that drug that everyone ridiculed.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Sam, you've said one of the reasons why you ran is because an open seat in Congress is very rare. It doesn't happen very often.
Well, not only is it very rare, but you don't get so many no names running.
Well, so let's back up a minute.
And you don't get a woman that can't sing like Sherry Gay Donago, that inflicts herself on every social event in Detroit and demands to sing. Those are votes for Sam. I don't even try to sing. I know I can't sing.
Well, wait a minute. If she's that bad a singer, maybe we should send her to Washington just to give us all a break.
Well, one rendition of the national anthem should do it.
Okay, but this seat was open when Brenda Lawrence was elected to Congress. Why did you not run back then?
Well, let me refresh your memory. There was also Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
A woman ran against her and was beating her till after midnight when something happened at the clerk's office. That woman is now Detroit City Councilwoman at large, Mary Waters. I did the ad, the Y'all's Boy ad that the Wall Street Journal called one of the best political ads of the season. So we used Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick's words.
So folks should know that Mary Waters is Sam's partner, and he ran her successful campaign to get elected to Detroit City Council at large last year. Did that inspire you too? Did you say, hey, if I can get Mary on council and Mary can get herself on council with my help,
well,
maybe I can get to Congress with Mary's help.
Just coming out of retirement kind of got the blood going again in terms of that. And I looked around at all these jerks running for Congress. And I said, Detroit, Grosse Pointe, Taylor, Romulus, deserve better than what I'm seeing. That 13th congressional district should be represented by someone willing to fight.
So is that why you're running? Your blood was flowing a little slow?
Well,
and
it's flowing.
And you were energized, too.
I mean, you can't get, I don't know what there is about listening that baffles you.
I get it. I understand. I understand it. I mean, you got a lot of fire.
I'm talking to Shawn. He's sitting over here.
What?
Looking like he just parachuted in from nowhere.
He pretty much did.
Yeah. It's okay. He's awake now.
It was Provo.
Okay.
He's awake now. It's cool. He was out there with Romney.
Oh, I appreciate Patrick trying to give you a softball and asking if you're inspired and all that. But no, seriously, what was going on inside of you that made you decide you want to do this?
I looked at the field and I was dissatisfied because I saw folks of the ideological bent of Mike Duggan, not John Conyers. I reflect more of Conyers than anyone else running.
Okay, this is one of the things I find interesting and kind of fairly refreshing. You're a Democrat that will criticize other Democrats.
They need to be criticized.
Why don't more?
You couldn't buy baby formula a few days ago.
Unacceptable. Yeah.
What is about the price of damn gas? This is happening under the watch.
So why does
old Joe?
Why don't?
Well, the gas. I got to step in here. Gas was not that bad when Vladimir Putin kept his ass at home.
Well, not only that, but it wasn't that
Eastern
bad
European
until we started
countries.
Fighting a war by proxy.
Yeah. Well, but you think Russia should have been able to just seize Ukraine? I understand where you're coming from.
How come they didn't move like that when Trump was president?
Oh, I don't think.
I mean, it was same issues were there.
I don't.
8 years ago, I was at the Ukrainian consulate in Macomb County.
Of course you were.
With Taurus, who is now in Ukraine, driving a Humvee, shuttling people over war-torn Ukraine. Look him up, Taurus.
I know Taurus.
And he'll tell you.
I know him.
That myself, representing the National Action Network, stood there and spoke against what was happening with Crimea. I myself spent 11 months, 10 days in Sinop, Turkey, on the Black Sea. I mean, I'm no stranger to the region physically. Learn to water ski there. Ski rope in one hand, bottle of Jack Daniels in the other. Shark-infested waters. Never had an issue with the sharks. The Jack, another story.
Yeah, no, Jack bites back. But so let's talk about this congressional. What if Monica Conyers had run for Congress?
I wouldn't have run.
Which she could have, because one of the things...
If she had run, and I talked to her about running for Congress, had she run, I wouldn't have run at all.
So she can carry the legacy of her late husband.
Well, she's positioned...
Or you just don't want to tangle with Monica anymore.
No, I'm not worried about tangling with Monica. I mean, come on. I'm just going to shut up on that.
Well, yeah, no. That's why we're all quiet, because sometimes silence elicits...
No, my point is that had Monica run... And had I been working with her, there would have been no need to run. Her son, John Conyers III, is a far cry from having the respect of the streets of Detroit even. Far cry from his mother.
That's Monica's son?
Yeah, literally.
But I mean, so maybe that's why Monica didn't run, right? She doesn't want to run against her son?
Well,
I don't know.
If she had run, he wouldn't have run.
Okay, so that was hers to go for. So one of the things we should let you know, Sam and Monica were caught up in some trouble in the 90s. Both of them were convicted of bribery charges. Both of them went to prison. Sam is still on the ballot because Michigan law does not trump federal law, and federal law does not prohibit people from running from office if they've been convicted of a crime that occurred with some context.
But I was also not an office holder.
No, I know, but I'm saying... But actually, when you look at that law, it says if you're a public employee and you were a part-time chief of staff from us. So I mean,
I was a consultant to her, no question.
Somebody might have been able to stretch that out.
But what I'd really like to get here is the Al Taubman treatment.
But the coast is clear for you. For Monica, she ran into a problem. If she'd run for Congress, she'd probably still be on the ballot.
Oh, she would be on the ballot
if she got the signatures. Because she just paid $100, I think, to get on the ballot.
No, you can't pay $100 and run for Congress. You got to have
some
good
state
signatures.
Offices you can. You drop a C note, you're on the ballot.
State rep, you pay $100. But if you owe money and you haven't filed properly, you can get thrown off.
Right. And
the ballot, like State Rep Cynthia Johnson, like State Senator Betty Jean Alexander.
Yep.
Like the commissioner, Tim Killeen. Wayne County Commissioner.
And
there's a growing list, and it's not over yet. Even in the 13th congressional race, there are people being challenged. In the 12th, I understand that Clerk Janice Winfrey is being challenged.
Oh. Who should know better about campaign finance law than the clerk?
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, well that's the 12th. That's next door.
Is that's
Rashida Tlaib.
That's
Rashida's new.
Matter of fact, I did a podcast with my old friend. He calls me his mentor, Michael Moore, with representatives in the United States Congress, Dan Kildee and Rashida Tlaib.
I love the way you slipped that in. He calls me his mentor. The Wall Street Journal says it was the best ad ever. There's a little bit of Elric in you, if I may say so.
Well, let me just
say, you took a shit on both of us with one clause.
I respect the Pulitzer Prize-winning ML.
And I respect Sam Riddle. There you go.
I respect.
We're doing the pincer movement
here. Serious question. We were talking about cool earlier and what's cool, and if you're trying too hard, you're not cool. One of the things when I first got to know you, Sam, that I always enjoyed about you is that you lived with a backpack with your running gear, and that was about it. You didn't have a permanent home.
That's not true.
You kind of, but you never. No, you were never there. You were there in Denver.
I was
you were
working.
in Boulder. You were here.
I had clients.
You rode
all
the
over
winds
the place.
all over the world, and I always liked that
interpretation. But
you told me you didn't.
No. When you say that, I mean I've owned.
So
homes,
do you now?
I've owned homes in Denver. I've owned homes in Marin County, Mill Valley, California.
I always liked that you kind of
Spring, Texas.
That you charmed your way.
No, it wasn't charming. I was doing campaigns.
Do the
research.
That's not what you used to tell me.
My client in Colorado was the Secretary of State, a Republican, Vicki Buckley, who addressed the NRA days after Columbine, even as I read the Denver Post. They wrote articles
But
on
people
that.
used to
Read the
open their
Rocky
doors
Mountain
to you and say,
News.
"Come in and stay for a month. Come in and stay." And I always thought that was cool without trying.
Well, it was
so
political hostiling, if you will.
Okay, well, whatever you want to call it.
HOSTEL.
Do you have a permanent home now?
Yes. And it's been there for over a decade now.
Okay,
and
I'm just curious.
That's in the heart of Lafayette Park.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I like somebody else giving Shawn the business. Let's get this going again.
Sam,
Well, I'm still trying to figure out. This guy writing for Detroit papers
Which one?
has a plush pad in Ann Arbor.
Plush
Soy
pad?
at Whole
I live in a
Foods.
cinder block
Oh,
house
well,
on
you're
a
in
dirt
Ann
road.
Arbor, and you're in Ann Arbor.
I live in a
People-
cinder block house on a dirt road.
People are withering away in Detroit.
It's
and you're in Ann
650
Arbor.
square feet.
I don't. That's your story.
I was at Shawn's house. I went out to drop off a bike, a custom-made Solar Detroit bike at Shawn's house, and he said, I'll come and accept this gift when I'm done watering the Percheron stallions in the back of his house.
See, that's what I mean.
And
But we
he had
love
a-
Shawn.
He
It's
had
okay.
a curry
There's
comb
a class
and John
divide.
Perzon.
There's a class divide.
Let me tell you something. You wouldn't believe it, but this guy in tight pants, it's impressive.
Yeah, I would never wear skinny jeans.
no,
As
he
you
wouldn't
know,
wear-
because
I know he wouldn't wear
you're a
skinny
man of the,
jeans.
you're a man of the people. Ann Arbor actually has kind of a they have working class neighborhoods in Ann Arbor. Believe
I
it or
know.
not.
I
You know that.
graduated
You
from
actually
law
know that.
school in
I
Ann
know.
Arbor.
That's what I'm saying. You actually know that.
I go
live
to
on-
the football games.
I live on a dirt road, which Mike will attest
It's
to.
cool. It's cool. You're okay, Shawn. Don't
But
be
I'm not-
sensitive.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I'm here
that to
for you,
gain some
Shawn.
kinda-
Don't get sensitive. It's okay.
It was a dirt road because the carriages don't go on asphalt. You know, a lot of these
Oh.
horses
Living
you don't
large
get
in
them
Ann
reshot
Arbor.
all the time.
Let me just
Living
tell you
large
the
in
truth.
A2.
When I met him, the reason he didn't have a home is because, he was good at getting one of the sexes to open the door and come on in and stay for a while. And
Well, there was no confusion.
Oh, that's what he used to say to me.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, Shawn had two horses.
Oh,
one was
God.
Seattle Slew Jr. The other one was called Catherine the Great.
But
And I don't know
nothing
what that
compared
was
to
all about.
the come on line. Well, it wasn't a line, right? It was imitating it was the neigh of a horse.
Well,
You were in
know,
the back seat of my car.
Let me just say this. Sometimes substances handle us. We don't handle substances.
Okay.
And that weird noise you heard came out of Lynchburg, Tennessee.
I remember it being
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Jack.
yeah.
The gentleman.
Jack was
no,
back.
no. I remember it being from France. It was a French vodka.
I don't know about a French vodka.
Well,
I
back
might
in
have been a
those
French
days, you were-
cognac.
Are you sober now? Are you?
Oh, yeah, I've been sober now for about, I don't know what, 13 years, 14? I don't know. It's been a while.
Did you get sober in prison or before you went?
Just before, because it dawned on me that most of the issues I had, I could almost trace directly to some of my self-medicating.
Okay.
And I'm not.
Don't we all do that?
I'm not playing a pity card.
No, you seem to own what happened going to prison.
Oh no, I do own it.
Yeah.
What was that like, by the way? How long were you there?
I I didn't count the days, but it was right at 3 years, a little less. But right at.
How did it change you or not?
Well, the only thing it changed in me was don't exercise bad judgment. Always choose right over wrong, and be careful who you use your skill set for. I am gifted with the ability to shape messages, to help shape the opinion of
According to the
large
Wall Street
numbers
Journal?
of people. According to
Well, there's some proof there, and I think a lot of people think
it's true.
Yeah.
a lot of people will think and connect you with Monica and think of the sentence. I mean that's just fact.
No.
But-
As a matter of fact, the
but-
mistrial. I'm the only one that went through a whole case and actually won in a way of speaking and got a
Bobby
mistrial.
Ferguson had a mistrial,
The judge, when we were voir direing the jury, a black woman that held out for not guilty said that this is to verify what you just said, that the jury did not even want to review any of the evidence. They said if he worked with Monica, he must be guilty.
Yeah.
And that's why she refused to go along.
Well, I just think
The jury held a press conference afterwards, the majority of the jury.
But I'm interested in some of these other campaigns too, because you did Feiger's run for governor, which
Pulled an upset, got him the Democratic Party nomination against all odds.
big
What a
upset.
team that
and then
was.
you had a big falling out with him.
I threw a cell phone at him. And then later on, hold it, wait a minute.
Which back then they were a lot bigger.
Later on, I called him up and he came to Denver, and we did a joint press conference with the family of Isaiah Shows, the only black student killed by those young white supremacists, Klebold and Harris, at Columbine. We spent half the damn press conference in Denver discussing the Michigan fallout between Figer and me. Instead of this young black student executed in large part because of his race. But the last words Isaiah Shows heard before they blew his heart out was, "Where's that little nigga?" That's the language of hate. And when I met one-on-one with President Clinton and the First Lady, and later on with Attorney General Janet Reno trying to get Columbine declared a hate crime, it was to no avail. We just saw the slaughter, the execution by a self-avowed white supremacist in Buffalo. And right away, white law enforcement, the feds, everyone said, this is a hate crime.
Everyone said it. They haven't.
Yeah, but my point is
even
that
said
it was 23 years after Columbine it took for us to get to that stage.
Yeah, well, there's been steps along the way, and honestly,
well, a lot of steps, a lot of deaths.
I know it's awful.
A lot of street action,
and maybe I'm cynical,
now we're
or maybe
calling
it's
it
the
what
time.
it is, but we have not stopped the killing.
It's not.
Hate
not
kills.
Going. It's
hate
not going
will
to.
continue to kill. The speech I wrote for Secretary of State Vicki Buckley, she was the only one that welcomed the NRA, Charlton Heston and Company, to Colorado days after Columbine's speech. Adams Marc Hotel, I wrote it. Charlton Heston holding the musket up over his head. Scene from the Academy Award winning film Bowling for Columbine, of which I'm in the credits, Shawn. And, right by Chris Rock, because both our names begin with R, Shawn. And the point I'm making is that when you've lived...
He was brushing out Catherine the Great's tail. He didn't hear that.
When you live something, ML, Shawn, when you live something, Marc, what's your name?
Young Patrick.
Patrick from Germany. God, story there. But anyway, when you live something, it gives you the depth of experience that prepares you to serve. When you've done time, it gives you the depth of experience to serve and not make the same mistake again. There are people running for that office that are going to step into the same amoral pothole I stepped into one time. They won't listen.
Let me ask you about that because, okay, so you talk about Monica, and, very smart woman, law degree, we covered that. You have a law degree, a lot of people, Kwame Kilpatrick, law degree. Why is it just too much temptation to take bribes? Or what?
I believe that folks engage in a fit of megalomania.
Okay.
And some folks get to believing that they're above everything. Everything, including what's right.
How much of it is just that?
Were you
business?
one of those people?
Mike, that's
in many ways, I was going along and caught up in the winds of corruption because I did not exercise good judgment, did not stop. If you have to think about it, don't do it, people. Choose right over wrong. That will never happen with me again, and time is too short.
Is it just too easy for some people because of how politics works and the money and donations and quid pro quos?
Well, that's putting it one way, but also some people are born into political power with a political silver spoon in their mouth. Kwame Kilpatrick didn't come from the streets, rough side of Detroit. He was born and developed with political wealth, if you will,
the
not
chosen
necessarily monetary.
He was referred to as the chosen one.
And there it is. I mean, and I don't hate on him because of that. That's a reality. You find someone else, black, with my background in history to say that aloud today in Detroit.
Do you think that your time in prison served more as a way of rehabilitation? Because one of the things that I think is a huge problem with our prison system is that
there is no damn rehabilitation in prison. If you're going to be rehabilitated, you have to do it out of self-consciousness by understanding how you got behind bars. If you're waiting on those assholes in prison to rehabilitate you or some magical program or magical wand, you're in big trouble.
That's the problem that I think I would surmise from comparing the American prison to that of other first world countries is that the American prison system seems more based in punishing people who made offenses than rehabilitation, which is what I see.
It's about retribution, not rehabilitation.
And money. as it becomes privatized, part of the
Yeah,
system.
well, yeah. I mean, if you privatize prison, then you monetize the injustice,
And you incentivize, right?
You've monetized the
To arrest,
injustice. Yeah.
So one of the things in talking to the feds about your situation, Sam, and they listened to a lot of your conversations and they spoke to you a lot afterwards.
Well, a lot. They had thousands.
You think
of
people are
conversations.
listening in right now to this conversation?
It doesn't bother me. I think it's good if they
hope
do.
a few of them are, but
I mean, you guys got more commercials to produce and run. Someone has to sell this airtime.
But one of the things that the feds have told me is that of all the people they listened to, you were the most clear-eyed about who you were dealing with, what their motivations were, who they really are, that when they listened to you, I don't want to say they were necessarily cheering for you, but they listened to a lot of people involved in a lot of scurrilous activities. And you seem to be one of the people where they said, Sam really got it. Sam really gets this. Sam really is, but you still got caught up in it. And I think that goes back to Marc's issue is someone who sees what's happening as it's happening, but still does. I mean, was that the jack or was you just jacked up on
that? And you do a little of this, you do a little of that.
How much was ego?
You bend your elbow.
How much?
I think it's a little bit more than ego when you get caught up in it. It becomes the essence and the culture which you're wrapped up in. It's more than ego. You stop and think about it. I had at one point paying clients that included Kilpatrick, Ferguson, good guy, comes from a family of strong business people, whole history of being real business people.
Yeah, now Bobby did come from the streets. Bobby was a legit bootstrap story.
I know,
yeah.
But he was a businessman for real. And you look at all that, and of course Monica is a client. It didn't help my situation at all, but I am responsible for Sam. I'm responsible for Sam's exercise of piss poor judgment. I'm the one that suffered the consequences of not only just piss poor judgment, but just a complete collapse of any moral standards at all that befit those that would serve the public. I failed miserably.
See, I like that you said it. I mean, why wouldn't someone like Kilpatrick say something?
I can't speak for
I know you,
Kilpatrick on any damn level.
I'm just saying more rhetorically. It
I know what you
amazes
mean.
me that he can't do that or
I
bring
can
himself
answer that
to do
for
that.
him. He's answered it himself because he didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
He just said on the Today Show, when you haven't done something wrong, you don't need to apologize.
I still want to go through some of these other people. Did you run Jesse Jackson's campaign in '88 in the state?
84.
84, okay.
84 and 88. State field director. Worked with,
That's
matter of fact,
that's a
Yolanda
surprise.
Woodley. If you look at Yolanda Woodley, who went, I think she may have retired from the Washington Post, but she worked and wrote for the Detroit News. She did a feature on the work
That was a bit of an
idea.
upset surprise. He won the state.
Well, but we organized the same organizational wherewithal we used with Feiger to pull in upset and get the nomination.
But that's what I'm getting
we
at.
We won the whole state of Michigan, beating Michael Dukakis. Yes,
You have
I
this-
was honored to be the state field director in that campaign when we won in '88.
You have a very big personality. You're honest regarding some things.
I'm
right?
honest all the way through
Okay.
now. People may not like the candor.
What? Okay, maybe that's a much better way
They
to put it.
They don't
He
like
says what
the
he
candor.
So what is okay? Is that what it is that you can take these candidates that people don't really pay no mind to and get them
Let
forward?
me say in a nutshell one thing I will never do again. I have the ability to shape opinions of the electorate. I will never again, without naming anyone specifically, create a persona or a person that doesn't exist. It's like if I say to you, this is the best Jell-O on the planet, and you taste it and you say, ugh.
What are you, Cosby?
Wow.
Well, that's what he said.
This is a raised ipsa loquitur moment.
Yeah, that's we'll get the Latin translation for y'all later, but so Sam, you have talked a lot about your experience, and Shawn was alluding to some campaigns you were involved in Flint. They do go back a while, and while you've taken really good care of yourself, when you try and bring that team back together to carry you across the threshold, Are most of those folks still in the game? I mean, are there some new people coming up? I mean,
there have been some fatalities.
Well, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, no COVID
Literally,
and time.
I mean, yeah. Well,
and our health system.
You know, you named a client. He died. He was treated, I think, at the University of Michigan too. Don Williamson. He had congestive heart failure, but he was a lot older, and he smoked, did other things, but but he wasn't part of my organization.
Yeah, you carried him. He didn't. Carry
Yeah. I mean, you get into a situation where, quite frankly, the worst manager of a candidate's campaign is the candidate themselves. And the person that was behind me getting those thousands of signatures to get on the ballot and get the letter stating that I am on the ballot, that I trust forever, is City Council woman at large, Mary Waters. She has a great organizational mind. She was Gretchen Whitmer's floor leader when she and Gretchen served in the Michigan legislature together. Mary Waters was the first black woman to ever serve as a floor leader in the history of the Michigan legislature's 100-and-something year history. But she and the team that she has assembled, they scheduled me. They told me that I was coming here and would be here at 11:45. I was here at about 11:43.
He was here early. Now, should we Detroiters be concerned that our at-large councilwoman is spending too much time helping Sam Riddle get elected to Congress? And
she isn't spending that much time at all.
Well, you guys were together on Friday.
But I also am aware of what she's doing in the city and whatnot. She spends an ungodly amount of time, probably 18 hours a day on the city business. She's not on a day-to-day basis with me. She has a team. She's the councilwoman.
I thought you were her team when she got elected to council.
Well, yeah, but that was true. But hell, I don't have anything to do with what goes on at that city county building. I was just in a demonstration outside of it. We call them out. Agnes Hitchcock with Maureen Taylor, the Welfare Rights Organization, and our National Action Network. I mean, I keep my activist bent, but I've done something else that a lot of those candidates haven't done. I've worked in the private sector. I know what it is to work for a living outside of government.
Yeah, you were working for the oil companies.
Well, I worked for Big Oil, and I've done some budgetary work too. I mean, I've worked. A lot of those folks have just been gobbling up at the public trial. Never had a real job. Except through government. And I believe the 13th district needs to know what it is to set management objectives, what it takes to achieve management objectives in the private sector as well as the public sector. And that's part of the problem when you talk about corruption.
Who in this race is the establishment's choice? I mean, the Democrats say this is the person we want to win.
Well, if you look at it.
And would they be scared if you won?
Oh, yeah. They'd be very, very concerned. And they should be. Some of them should be concerned.
I think it would be very interesting. Status quo.
By that I mean, Hollier is the choice of the elite
party?
Black establishment headed up by County Executive Warren Evans. Brenda Lawrence's choice is Portia Roberson, who heads up Focus Hope.
Former Duggan appointee, an attorney who is now
Both of them
CEO
are Dugganites. Both of them are Dugganites.
So
and Sherry Gay-Denego, I got a picture of her I put on Facebook sometime, kissing the top of the head of Mike Duggan.
So how do you fight?
With Brian Banks in the front.
How do you fight that?
Same picture. How do I fight it? I kick ass. I get votes. That's what I do. I get votes. They don't want me in this race.
How do you fight the money aspect of it?
Well, see, understand something. They're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get where I already am.
Well, people know your
name. Name ID, name ID, name ID. I probably have the greatest name ID of anyone in the race except for a fellow named John Conyers. And sooner or later, someone's going to discover that John Conyers, the real one's, been dead a little while.
Yeah, no, Sam, when you go out with Sam, people recognize Sam. There is identification there. I don't know that it's that strong throughout the district, but certainly in Detroit.
I'm not looking for any a whole lot of kudos from down south a little way, even though in Romulus is pretty good.
Yeah.
The points, I don't know if it's overwhelmingly positive there, but we don't know. I had a woman, a white medical doctor, that collected petition signatures for me at the Kroger off of Mac. And she did real well. They're getting petition signatures, white woman, medical doctor. There's some support there, but I'm not naive. I have to go where people are most likely to vote for me. And that will be the heart of the 13th in the city of Detroit, in Romulus, in Harper Woods, and in Southwest Detroit. I don't ignore the issues of the Grosse Pointe. I don't ignore anyone that has a wet basement, for example.
The flooding, the flooding.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Everything.
And then you get the runaround from FEMA.
Right.
And no one to fight for you. Yeah. That's what I'll do. I'll measure my outcomes on how many people say, thanks, Congressman. You got the job done, Congressman.
Well, we could do a whole show on Sam and Mary and their relationship, which is an hour wouldn't hold that. But it would be very interesting if you got elected. At the time, John Conyers was our congressman in the 13th district. His wife was on city council. If you're elected to represent the 13th district, your partner, Mary Waters, will be on city council. The Waters-Riddle partnership will replace the Conyers partnership.
With a different outcome.
10 years later, hopefully with a different outcome.
Completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Mary's had her problems with the law too. I mean, it's.
Well, she had them, but Detroit rendered a verdict when they elected her to the Detroit City Council. Today, Mary Waters represents more black voters, more black citizens than any other black woman elected in the state of Michigan, including Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, because Mary Waters represents the entire city of Detroit, not like the president of council, who just represents a district. Right. There are only 2 council members that represent the entire city. One of them is Councilwoman Mary Waters. The other one is Councilman Coleman Young II.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking, depending on how big congressional districts are, she may represent more black people than any woman elected to office anywhere in the country, right? I mean,
it could be, but we know Michigan for sure.
You got 600,000
it's a big deal.
Detroit. Yeah,
it's a big deal. No, some people would like to gloss over it, but again, Warren Evans' backing of that state senator Hollier and Brenda Lawrence backing Portia Roberson will make this a very interesting contact. You know, you asked me something. I didn't see it in the article.
Uh-oh.
You said, would you have voted for Monica Conyers over Warren Evans? And I said, yes. Why? Because Ayanna Stanley Jones is dead. Due to the megalomania of the Detroit police chief filming. Ask Charlie LeDuff about that. He wrote an article about it.
And here's why I didn't include that, because it requires a little backstory. I'll give you the backstory as quickly as I can. Warren Evans, I believe, was a police chief at the time that the first 48
Dave Bing administration
was rolling with the SWAT team, basically. And they were filming when they raided a home on the east side. Ayanna Stanley Jones was a young girl, 6 or 7 years old, I believe, who was sleeping on her grandmother's stomach when, a lot of folks bunk up when you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of beds. People crash where they can. And when they hit the door, they threw a flashbang in there. And depending on who you believe, probably the kindest version for the Detroit police SWAT team was that grandmother grabbed the gun and it went off and killed Ayanna. And that case...
not true.
With that, I'm saying that's the kindest version. And when the kindest version of a story involves a young girl being killed...
Young black girl.
Yeah, that ain't kind. But she died on Warren Evans' watch, and so Sam holds Warren Evans responsible for that entire thing because, of course, you're not going to have a film crew hanging out with your SWAT team unless the boss says it's okay.
Yeah.
And Warren Evans, we know, loves TV because he wanted to pitch a TV show based on his career, which also ended up costing him his job as the Detroit police chief. That's
there were a lot of factors at work in that one.
So that's why Sam says he would pick Monica over Warren Evans. There's probably some other reasons, but I just want you to know the backstory to who.
And I didn't have to say that. You attract more fire.
Yeah.
But so what?
Yeah.
Ayanna Jones is still dead, and she doesn't and didn't have to be dead.
Right. Right. And so that's why Sam would have voted for Monica Conyers. And he would have stepped aside if she ran for Congress. So too bad she didn't take some advice from Sam and go for the family spot.
I'm not looking to bend her ear these days.
No, she's You know, I often find that people get in trouble. It's not so much they didn't have good advice; it's that they didn't have good ears. Yeah.
There it is.
So, Sam, thanks for coming in.
Hang out.
Thank you guys. Shawn, love you, man. Marc,
You gonna hang out with us?
the German, yeah. No, I gotta get there. I'm trying to get over to the East
You
End.
gotta hit the trail.
Get out of here. No.
I'm on my way out. That's what I say on my show. You out of here.
And here's what else I didn't say in the article. Sam said if he'd been running my city council campaign, I'd have won.
Do you think
I
he would
don't
have?
want to
that
make.
might be
I don't
true.
want to make anyone angry.
Wait, no. Do you? I mean,
but that's a fact.
you think so? Do you think so? You think he
I
would have
just
won?
said that's a fact.
He's right. He's gifted with messaging abilities.
Well,
that
no. I mean,
No, all we would have done is told the real story of ML.
we went through all the proof. I mean, you have a way of taking
I
a
mean,
candidate.
no. All you do is stick to the truth. Who is ML? What's in it for you if you elect ML to the Detroit City Council? And nothing against my good sister that was elected. Love you.
Sam, that sounds so easy, though. So why don't more politicians follow that formula? What is it?
Because they get stuck on stupid. See, ML was listening to people tell him who was great. You don't import people from Grosse Pointe to do Detroit. I'm through.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
Okay.
We may have stayed a minute too long. Sam, thanks for coming in. We look forward to having you back after your inauguration.
You guys are welcome to the swearing in, and there will be a swearing in.
there will be swearing,
And
too.
I will be Congressman Sam Riddle. Bet on it.
Sam will put the swearing in swearing in.
Best of luck.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Boy, we didn't even get to most of Sam and Shawn's stories from Flint and elsewhere. But
Some of those were
we'll bring him back.
shaky, I thought. Yeah, no. I really rather not. Shawn has evidence. This isn't a story.
Oh yeah, no. I can use some help with trying to rein in Shawn. So this
you guys are great.
this is like taking a day off. But,
I see Kevin will actually listen to this.
Well,
geez,
we're
okay.
still rolling.
yeah, no, he'll be wanting to move things over on ADL.
I'm going to get over to East Lansing.
Okay, go green.
And I'll be seeing you guys around. Now when I get out of here, what do? I go up here?
Yeah, Patrick will
Just
show you.
we'll
Show me out.
The German will help you.
yeah.
The German. Come on, German.
They're good with directions.
We've had your car washed, and he'll pull it up.
That was a great joke by Shawn that went over your head.
What was that?
I'm not going to repeat it. You're going to have to listen back to the show.
Damn it.
Sam was trying to figure out how to get out of here, and I said the German will help you. They're good with directions.
Okay.
I thought it was a good joke, Shawn. I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm German.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Shawn thinks it's okay to slur people based on their heritage.
What a
Maybe there's nothing funny about that.
Where are we? What is going
force
on?
of nature with him, and
He's a fascinating guy.
I love to laugh.
And you got to love somebody who owns up to the crimes they committed.
Yeah, and we didn't get to all the crimes. Like again, it's only an hour-long show, but he owns it all.
But Sam's also a guy that either doesn't care or doesn't mind if you disagree with him. No?
No, I think that's true. He is in the arena of ideas, and he is willing to engage with it. He is a gladiator.
A lot of people today are not like that. A lot of people today just want to be around their own thoughts.
Yeah, so I get a lot of guff when I write about people running for office who have had financial problems, and I know folks say, "Why? I had some challenges and whatnot and all this stuff, and you shouldn't be judging me based on them." Like, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling people what the public record says. And I was reading a story in the Free Press. I think it was last year, where somebody talked about that. I think it was maybe when Janice Winfrey, some of her financial problems had come up. And the Free Press reporters talked to somebody who was an expert on these sort of things. And they said what I think embodies how Sam handles these things. They said, it's not that you went broke. It's how you address the issue. Do you talk about what your problems were then and how it's not going to happen again? Do you talk about how, this has taught you something? And the closest I ever get from people is always like, well, I'm broke. Everybody else is broke. So I'm like everybody else. It's like, well, wait a minute. We're not trying to elect people who are the most challenged. We're not trying to elect people who are the lowest common denominator. It's fine that you've had some experiences. It's fine that you've had some cuts and bruises, because we've all had that, and that can help you relate to people. But it's what have you learned from that experience? Not like, I screwed up, everybody screwed up, so vote for me. It's like, Sam will tell you, I was drinking. I was around people where this was easy to do. I was feeling myself. I thought this was the way to go. And so I did it. And it was a mistake, and I won't do it again. And he talked about the FBI training videos. Sam sat down for a series of interviews with the FBI, talking about what role he played in the culture of corruption in Detroit, that were both somewhat confessorial, but also to help other people see that. And I'm not even sure it's a word.
Scurrilous was a good word too.
But who will then?
By the way, you having fun? Sam left. You have time to talk. You must be.
I'm going to try and mention Kilpatrick twice more.
Is this the gig of the week? I don't know what's going on.
I wasn't sure what's going on.
No, but
you've been waiting for an hour to talk. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
Oh, don't get pouty. Don't get pouty on us.
Didn't know there's so many mean people.
Wait a second. Sam, did you hear what Sam said when he left? He said he and somebody else listen to the show and they're jealous because they like it because of the camaraderie. So, but you didn't hear that because you were thinking about what you were going to say for this bit. So let me get back to it.
So what were you doing?
Welcome back, Shawn. Sometimes, Shawn, when people go on trips, they bring souvenirs or gifts for their colleagues who didn't get to go on those trips because they were working hard.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So what did you bring us?
Well, my wife went to Morocco for 11 days and brought me nothing. So
yeah, but
she brought my kids something though, so that's good. And the rest of the family.
You feel slighted?
No, I don't at all.
I wouldn't think you would. Patrick, whose heritage you slurred moments ago.
I'm going to bring him some Benadryl so he can sleep, but we're going to talk about that later.
Residents of rural Abu, Japan, waiting for COVID.
Oh, this is a very sad ML going into the Geek of the Week.
Yeah, who's your Geek of the Week?
They got an unpleasant surprise when they found out one of their neighbors with the yen for gambling got all of the dough and blew it. And yes, I am reading from paper.
You're very handsome.
Sho Taguchi, 24, don't objectify me, told people he lost 46.3 million yen gambling at online casinos. The $358,000 was meant for 463 households in Abu, which were each eligible for 100,000 yen in aid.
Yeah, but if he would have doubled it gambling, they would have gotten 200,000 in aid.
Entirely true. A Japanese official mistakenly sent all of this money to Taguchi because his name was at the top of the list of eligible people. And did anybody else notice that Taguchi does not begin with an A? Is the alphabet in a different order in Japan? I know they got different letters for everything over there. Well, Taguchi may have lost much face and much money, but he has won one thing. He doesn't ever have to work with Shawn. He's our Geek of the Week. Scurrilous behavior in Japan. Outrageous. They're looking for reparations in Abu, Japan.
And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
So while Sam Riddle is working Southwest Detroit, the folk from South Detroit show that once again they're ahead of us. And today is no exception. We're talking to Sam about politics, but Todd from Windsor suggested nearly 2 weeks ago that we play The Politics of Dancing by Reflex.
That's 2 words.
Reflex. I had did you want to pause in this so you could throw in some mean comments?
No.
By the way, these guys didn't get an album released because it was too political, but they have a song called The Politics of Dancing. How did the record label not know that might be an issue?
Nice walk up.
Sort of a rhetorical question. Just try and hit the post.
We got the message. I heard it on the airwaves. The politicians are now DJs. The broadcast was spreading station to station, like an infection. The politics of dancing. The politics of feeling good. The politics of moving. Oh, is this message understood? The politics of dancing. The politics of feeling good. The politics of moving. Oh, is this message understood?
Reflex with the politics of dancing. Anybody ever hear these guys before? I mean, I think this tune got a little radio play.
I've never heard of them.
Really?
No.
Okay.
What am I missing?
That was a cool song. How do we donate?
Yeah. No, they're a very, very
what a dick.
Classic kind of poppy new wave band.
You're laughing.
He's just powering through it though.
Oh, you're laughing over there.
Yeah. They were produced by a member of Roxy Music. They did some gigs where they toured with the Police, and one of their albums, which EMI at some point deemed too controversial to release, they had backing vocals from Sting. So they, they had a little moment, but didn't go very far. One of the most amazing things about this band, which only released a couple albums, is that at some point one of the members put together a 6 CD box set of their work. How do you end up putting a memorial box set that has more CDs than you released when you were a going concern? Was there that much? A lot of demos. Was there that much pent up demand for Reflex?
Probably a lot of demos on there.
I don't know, but we love it when our audience supplies us with some great, underappreciated new wave material.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
And Reflex, if you listen to the whole album, there's some pretty solid tunes on there. And I would not say the Politics of Dancing was my favorite one, but Shawn hates it when I depart from what the audience suggests. So since he's back, I thought I'd be more polite to my coworkers than he often is.
It was a fun song.
So that was Politics of Dancing. Any of your suggestions, we love them. You can write to us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. You can always call us at 313-288-9070. That's Butterfield 89070. The number that is so famous for not being used. Maybe someday people will avail themselves of this wonderful service that we have provided for them. And one of the ways we're able to provide such wonderful services are supporters like Bryant, who continues to be a generous supporter of this show. If you would also like to send us a little bit of money, no amount is too large, no amount is too small, and Mark will tell you how to send it all.
MLSoloDetroit.com. Go there and then click on the donate button.
That's it. And we are
you
working.
Just totally distracted me with that stupid joke.
Yeah, we are working on the Venmo. Somebody
Oh,
said,
yeah. How you got that set up yet?
Somebody made a comment that said, I'm going to donate this money to help you get that
set up the Venmo. Like, it's the easiest thing to set up.
So,
and Patrick, do not do it for him. He has to do it himself.
So, Joe, I want you to know, Joe, who also supported the show, he says, donating to the Set Up a Venmo account fund. I will do it. Only so that Joe has another way to send us his hard-earned dough. We appreciate if you subscribe to the show. You can subscribe to the video at YouTube channel ML Elric. When you do that, you'll get an alert when our live broadcast starts. If you want to see a previous show, you can watch the replay. And, of course, you can hear the full audio version of our show all the time at any of the major podcasting platforms. We also love hearing from you. Robert writes, "Hey, ML, enjoyed the column about Riddle. With your new gig at Free, are you going to have to pretend the rest of the year that Whitmer could lose? It was telegraphed from the get-go with his cast of bottom-rung dunces. The Republicans were in it to hand this to Whitmer."
Pretend? She very easily could lose.
Well, Lansing is one big... Here's Rob. Let's hear Robert through.
Oh, sorry.
Lansing is one big status quo uniparty putting on a show. Whitmer wins in a landslide, but I do think Nessel, the Attorney General, is on shaky footing. I suspect enough moderates find her so incompetent and so insufferable, they split to send her packing. So I don't think there's a conspiracy in Lansing for the Republicans to toss the election to Whitmer.
No.
But I have to tell you, the disarray, the fact that there were 10 candidates, none of them with previous electoral experience, felt like, wow, this is a real opportunity for Whitmer to basically waltz into a second term. And now that some of the front runners with some of the deepest pockets are getting wiped out, it really feels like the Democrats in a year where they should be, just sweating bullets are getting ready to glide in. But Mark, you think that Whitmer could still get
She
beat?
still has very high disapproval ratings. Yeah, I think she easily could.
But every race is about the competition. Whatever the candidate says, it's as much about the competition as it about the candidate.
Agreed.
Can Kwame Kilpatrick get elected at mayor of Detroit? Possibly. Depends who he's running against. If he's running against Mike Duggan, I don't think he could win. If he's running against me, landslide.
Well, let's see what happens with
I'm not running.
Let's see what happens with all these Republicans, and let's see where the money goes. When it comes down to it, there will be one Republican and one Democrat running.
Well, so she could get an anybody but vote, I guess. But I really think we don't know who the candidates are going to be, and it's going to be such.
Can you cast your opinion? Who do you think is going to end up being the Republican candidate?
I have no idea because I don't know who's still going to be on the ballot. There were 3 that may get knocked off. There are 2 more who might get knocked off, and Trump and a bunch of deep-pocketed Republicans are getting behind Tudor Dixon.
That's who I really think is going to win this nomination.
Basically has she's a talk show from the Muskegon area, right? Isn't that?
Does that matter?
Well, I think so there may be some populist credentials there, but I just don't think she's that well known. I don't think that she has the experience to run running statewide is really, really hard. And if you can't tap into that network, and how is she going to run with DePerno and Caramo? Are they going to be tight? Are they going to be doing their own thing?
That's a very fair question.
I mean, the Republican Party seems to be in disarray.
That's another, back to Robert's point. A lot of people do not like Dana Nessel, but look at the opponent.
Whoa, and right.
Like how I ended it right when
what
the
happened
music.
to
Huh?
DePerno.
I made such a great point. The music just ended, Sean.
That's great. But
reverse post.
Still the music.
Yeah, no.
You make a great point. It'll just end.
DePerno and Caramo are such controversial nominees that you have the bedrock of the Republican Party. Republicans who were born Republicans and have been Republicans, loyal Republicans for 50, 60, 70 years saying maybe it's time just to blow it up, who may not vote for the Democrat, but almost certainly won't vote for Matt DePerno or Christina Caramo.
Caramo, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, when you have Republicans like John Truscott, who was probably John Engler's most trusted advisor, or one of them, saying, you know, basically good riddance to this election, that tells me that there's trouble ahead for the Republicans.
Oh, see, I tried to have you make a good point in the music end, but you kept talking.
It tells me that there's trouble ahead for Republicans. 3, 2, 1. Colin queries, do you know how those Oxford lawsuits against the school district will work? Assuming there are large settlements or judgments, does the district have massive insurance, or will they have to float a school bond in Oxford and Oakland County ISD, Intermediate School District? Taxpayers end up paying for it? Pretty remarkable. None of Oxford's numerous six-figure school alums have been fired. Same in Rochester. Nobody fired after administrators cyber-stalked parents, created psychotic dossiers, called the cops on, and got parents fired from jobs. I think Colin's, you know, maybe there's a little hyperbole there with the extent of what happened in Rochester. But yeah, it is kind of surprising that heads haven't rolled yet. In terms of Oxford, I suspect they have an insurance policy, but I think those rates are going to go up quite a bit. And in some districts, when there is a big judgment or they lose a big lawsuit, they bond it and everybody in that district pays for the next 30 years. I think how this goes with Oxford will depend on where the lawsuits go, because there are also circumstances where insurance companies can say, you know, you guys screwed up so bad that our policy doesn't cover that. So I think there will be some big payouts coming in Oxford, and how that gets spread around the district remains to be seen, but certainly a real concern. But I think our greatest concern is how those kids can put their lives back together now that many of them have graduated and are going on to college or whatever comes next. Hopefully the district will find a way to support those kids and families going forward. I don't think you can put a price tag on that. Sophia muses, a few weeks ago on the pod, you mentioned sniffing out DUI footage in an investigative story. What are the odds 3 police cruisers and 2 sheriff's deputies have 0 operational dash or body cameras in January 2022? Reason I ask is that up in Flint, a sheriff sergeant totaled her police cruiser on I-75 after getting drunk after a shift in early January. She also had 2 guns on her possession. She was never booked and only charged with a slap on the wrist, which will be dropped from her record this summer after the incident leaked to the news media weeks later. She was super drunk, nearly 4 times the legal limit when she crashed her police car. Then 4 months later, the sheriff claims none of the cars or responding deputies had working cameras, so no footage from the scene exists. Sergeant kept her job after allegedly being suspended for a few weeks. It all seems a bit fishy to me. So, Sophia, I don't know the circumstances of that case, but let's assume for a minute that what you say is true. Police who operate vehicles that don't have functioning cameras and body cameras can get in a lot of trouble, and have that many officers roll up on a scene where all their equipment doesn't work. That does seem pretty fishy.
It's entirely unacceptable too.
Yeah, and it seems like something where even if this wasn't done intentionally, there should be some sort of internal investigation to find out why this equipment wasn't working.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that if you have a body camera, that protects you as an officer as much as anything else, so people can see how you handle your business instead of let everybody else characterize it for you. And the late Benny Napoleon, Wayne County Sheriff, former Detroit Police Department, we both served on a panel where he was an advocate of body cameras early on for exactly that reason, pre-George Floyd, because he knew if officers were conducting themselves the way they should, that body camera video is going to be their best friend. And this is a guy who had the Justice Department in his department trying to reform it. So he understands that you want to protect the good cops and the bad ones. If the video incriminates them, you don't want them around. But, you know, I did a story, many years ago on a Detroit city councilman who got stopped, passed out on a highway service drive. It was Scott Benson in Southfield on the Lodge service drive. Empty bottle of Buffalo Trace under the front seat of his city car on a Sunday afternoon. We got all the camera video from Southfield Police Department. Let me tell you something. Their camera video was better than ours because they were rolling HD at a time when Fox 2 was not.
Really?
We had video camera from inside the car, from the dash, inside, pointing inside the vehicle. From it was in the back seat. We had dash cam video from other cars. We had so much video. We had like 4 or 5 different angles to choose from when we told the story just from what a couple cruisers in Southfield had. So if what Sophia says is true, yeah, that doesn't wash.
No.
And somebody should be looking into why that equipment wasn't working. Jared from Saxonburg, PA says, I was listening to the Deadliest Catch episode driving home from school. The part of the story that I connected with was when your guest started talking about diving the Detroit River and how it's illegal and off limits to recreational divers. There's a small group of divers that get access to part of the river, and I've been lucky enough to be part of that group a few times. I was part of the Detroit Rescue, dive team for the hydroplane race on the Detroit River for a few years. Ooh! During the races, rescue drivers are stationed on boats at various places inside the course, geared up and ready to respond when or if there are mechanical failures, collisions, or accidents during the race. Prior to the race weekend, there is usually an afternoon or dive training on the river where we would run through drills that would simulate scenarios we may encounter during a race. On that day, as a bonus, we're able to descend and drift and dive the Detroit River. The main goal of the dive is to look for stuff. I haven't been as lucky as other divers have been. I have an old liquor bottle from the 1930s. Part of the label was still on it. One of the divers in the group found an unopened, old corked bottle of whiskey, most likely from the Prohibition area. One year I wasn't there, a gun was found. I heard someone once found one of those old antique brass fire extinguishers. We did go out once and look for an item of great value. It was the prop shaft from a hydroplane. They are big, a few feet long. They are heavy, made from high-grade stainless steel, and they are expensive, $10,000 or more. We didn't find it. Keep the stories coming. So if you missed the Deadliest Catch, that's when we had Jason Vanderwall, the Magnet Fisher. If he can pull up that prop, $10,000, maybe Jared will take a little finder's fee. So we love getting your feedback. Please keep it coming. You can write to us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. And now Shawn is reading a verse in his Bible.
Looking at the program.
He's back from Utah. Tell us what you found.
Did you have a good trip?
Oh, yeah, it was a good trip.
It was a delayed answer.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
No,
sorry. Wake up.
Yeah, good trip.
Yeah, now Patrick is the one with insomnia. What's your excuse?
I have insomnia. I've had it for 30 years.
Patrick, since you're a better storyteller, would you tell us about your insomnia?
So when I first moved to the States, my teachers would always tell my parents, your kid is crazy. And so my mother took me to the doctor. They said, yeah, your son has some pretty unbridled ADHD. So we're going to prescribe him some Adderall and it'll help him focus during the day. But after about 5 years of being on Adderall, I eventually developed insomnia from the prolonged exposure to it. And I ended up getting prescribed a new medication called trazodone to help me sleep. And fortunately, despite having insomnia, most nights I do have great sleep because of that trazodone. The only negative side effects I'd say is that oftentimes when I first wake up, if somebody talks to me during that time, between the time I've woken up and taken my Adderall, I cannot remember what happened during that time.
That's crazy. Look at this country. One medication begets another medication.
Well, that was how it was for me. It was cocaine and then muscle relaxers and Quaaludes at night to kind of come down. But like you, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, Shawn is undiagnosed with ADHD and still can't sleep.
You know what I mean?
Except when he comes to this show.
Look at pharmaceuticals. Look at in this country.
I would appreciate a pillow, please.
A pillow?
You a lumbar pillow for the lower back, and then maybe something for my neck when you start on your soliloquies.
It really hit me that there's a problem in this country with medicating people when you started seeing ads that if you suffer from opioid constipation, like here's another drug to help you take a dump.
Thank you for being serious, Mark.
I'm being very serious.
I know you are.
Anybody who has furniture.
You don't think we're over medicated in this country?
Of course we are.
Yeah. No, anybody who has furniture knows if you shim up one leg and then you have to shim up the other leg, and then you have to shim up the other leg because the one shim's too high, and you have to, that eventually the table's going to collapse. And we're just like a bunch of walking pill bottles, which is
nice
crazy.
Analogy.
I'm very pro-drug in a lot of ways, but man, the pharmaceutical industry is a disaster.
That's great.
It is, but at the same time, there are some medications that can change people's lives, and how do you figure out?
I know
to push some and pull some back. I mean, it feels to me.
Patrick, how old were you when you were prescribed medicine for your ADHD?
I was 7 years old.
Isn't that something? But have either of you seen Dope Sick?
There you go.
The show on Hulu about
with
Michael Keaton. It's sobering. No pun intended.
No, the whole I don't want to go on a diatribe about opiates and the Purdue Pharma and yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
And once again, government reacts way too late.
But I have been watching The Righteous Gemstones, which brings me to something that I just want to, and I'm just going to throw it out there. We don't have to go anywhere with it, but I will watch anything Walton Goggins is in. To me, he's the most compelling guy.
Really good.
He's just, I mean, he's amazing.
You want to call him? I have his phone now.
Do you?
Yeah, we interviewed him because he did a thing for Ford and the Bronco.
John Bronco.
John Bronco stuff. He is John Bronco. He's a really great actor.
He's just versatile. I remember seeing him on The Shield, which I didn't really watch, but I'd see clips and I'd say, that crazy looking intense guy is probably a dirty cop. He just looks like that. But then he's been
Sons of Anarchy. I think a lot of people know him from that.
Justified. Oh, he was great.
My favorite is still Vice Principals. He's so ridiculous in Vice Principals.
I've not seen him that, but Baby Billy on Righteous Gemstones.
Great character.
He's Uncle Baby Billy. I mean, just saying it makes me want to laugh. It's such a ridiculous.
I was trying to remember which Marvel, the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes. Yep.
Which one was he? The Wasp?
He was the guy trying to procure the businessman trying to procure the technology on the black market.
Yes.
Okay.
He plays a good bad guy.
I just like to think of him as markets
he is
because
a
I
good
don't
bad
see
guy.
things like that.
Oh, that's
Pardon
who
me?
that is?
I just see markets, but you know.
You don't see. Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but I guess,
I see
you
what
know.
you're saying.
I love the fact that he watches one show that's been made in this decade, and you've been obsessed with it for.
No, that's not true. He watched.
I watched
Slow
Justified.
Horses.
No, okay.
No.
No,
I watched Slow Horses in your backyard. They were running to the barn.
Not Slow Horses, which is great with Gary Oldham. With Christopher Walken, that one.
Outlaws.
You
Outlaws
watched that?
is
That's
great.
a recent one.
Oh yeah, I watched Endeavor. I watched all kinds of shit.
He's
I got
got The Boys coming up, and
I got to cancel those.
The Boys coming up,
but you won't watch. You won't watch the new episodes of
Peaky Blinders.
No, of Saul. Better Call Saul.
But yeah, I'm not going to watch season 6 because I think something bad's going to happen. I really have come to like Howard, and I hate it when people who I think are dicks become good people and then somehow get railed. I just think it's get them when they're bad.
You gonna watch the new Kenobi show?
I'm not gonna say anything about what you just said.
No, I think the last Star Wars thing I saw was the first one with Hayden Christensen, and that was it for me.
Attack of the Clones.
I'm not sure. The one with Jar Jar Binks.
The very first one, yeah.
That would be the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
that was not Hayden Christensen though.
It was a menace. Yeah, he was Darth Vader.
Anakin.
So Anakin when he was 9, is that what you're talking about? When he was like a really young kid?
Maybe I saw the second one.
You saw the one with Jar Jar and you hated it.
I saw Hayden Christensen.
That's the one people take away from that
and,
one. Jar Jar Binks.
And Jar Jar Binks, and that was it. I couldn't.
It was atrocious.
That would be Attack.
So yeah, the trip out west was good. I got to.
We got a 3-hour delay on the West Coast.
No. I met my
Mountain
son.
Time.
I met my son and his girlfriend in LA.
We'll be joined in a minute by Sam Riddle.
And
who's
that
here
was
to
great.
talk.
You met your son for the first time?
No, yeah, I did, and yeah, he looked a lot like Mike.
Congratulations.
And if he had killed you, he wouldn't be here.
No, that's very true. No, that was great.
What?
It's a butterfly effect. If Shawn met his son, if his son had killed Shawn, and his son wouldn't be here.
The Carlos and Shawn podcast, we're going to talk about the Lions. We'll have Dave Burkett on, so there's the update on that. What else?
Wow. I don't know. What else is going on?
Talking Lions, yeah, because they got a big game coming up.
No, because the schedule came out. No, because the schedule came out, and there's probably a little bit too much national positive buzz on this team, and it's freaking people out around here.
Like there was with the Tigers.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
What a joke.
Exactly.
Well, I want to give you a little update on my financial situation.
Yeah, you lost some money. So what else?
Which is dire. It's dire.
And you're going to get it back.
So
you want to save it for next week?
Yeah.
I guess we could do a little cliffhanger.
Do a cliffhanger.
I'll just say, if you're the one out there taking my money,
oh,
I'm going to find you.
Again, more people.
I'm going to find you. So,
don't mess with ML.
Better call ML.
Oh, I like that.
There you go. As Teller did on Friday to tell me that a overweight black man came in and said he was me and tried to cash a check.
You said he had ID, right?
Had ID. Where he had his picture with my information. No, the woman said that the ID looked fraudulent. And I said, because it was a large black guy, because we've been told the person who did the first fraud was this 310-pound, 6'3" black gentleman. And she said, no, it's just a bad ID. I said, okay, so I guess you don't know who I am because I'm actually rather white.
But, okay, so this has happened in multiple banks. People
with a
try
nice
to
beard.
cash a fake check as you.
Yeah, well, and then so somebody got shut down on Friday because a teller in Sterling Heights, way to go, Jessica, said this ID looks fraudulent. But then I found out last night in checking my bank account that 2 other withdrawals had been made, and I just found out before we went on the air that that they were made in person, which means if you're a bank teller out there, come on, man, you got to be a little...
Is there a way to contact the bank to just stop withdrawals?
Do what I did when we had our information stolen. We just changed the account number.
Well, that's what we're going to have to, but I have multiple accounts, including the account that,
I did too,
that
and I
pays
had
Shawn's, which then he'll be like, oh, this is a serious problem.
No, that's
when
great.
me and my family are getting railed, it's not a big deal, but when Shawn doesn't get his shekels...
You don't need to pay me. I'm here for the love. We changed the numbers. My kids were attached to it just like yours. The worst part is that you have to go into every single thing you pay and redo all your information, but that's, it's a small price to pay for some...
Let me ask you this. So these people that
Until they do it again...
The people that are cashing the checks, are they the same checks from, I think you said it was a dental office?
Yeah, no, the second check was not from a dental office.
Where are these checks from?
She told me the other one looked like somebody trying to sell a car maybe or something like that. I don't know if it was a used car lot or what, but these other 2 withdrawals, I don't know. I just saw they popped up in my... So please, folks, check your bank balance every day just to see if somebody's got their nose in there. Because they look very benign.
By the way, did we do Geek of the
Week?
Week?
They are not.
Yes, Shawn, we did.
Okay, I'm just
Shawn. So, for his anti-Germanic comments.
I'm just checking.
I think you have ADHD.
No. I just didn't hear the normal. And that's our Geek of the Week, I think Mike was sad when he read the Geek of the Week.
He was very sad.
Maybe
He
that's
picked
why
up
I
a
did
little bit,
mistake.
We built up to a crescendo. But,
okay, good.
Thanks.
It's good to be back. Thanks for letting me come.
Thank you for keeping us on track, Shawn.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thank you.
And
joining us this week is Sam Riddle. The Red Shovel Network also has a couple other great shows. There's Charlie Duff's No BS News Hour and the Drew and Mike podcast. So we'd appreciate if you would support them. And we'd love to have you back next week. We may have a very special guest who can talk to us about some of the most legendary TV shows in Detroit history. So come back next week to find out if we're able to execute this precise maneuver. And until then, Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Will
Shawn
escape? Can
ML
find him in time? Is this the ghastly end of our dynamic duo? Answers
Tuesday
night, same time, same channel. One hint, the worst is yet to come.